Captain Ibrahim Traoré is seen as a beacon of hope, as someone that is looked up to, and people across Africa, not just Burkina Faso.
For centuries, the world has underestimated Africa, claiming its people cannot lead without external guidance, mocking dreams that don't carry Western approval. Yet, in Burkina Faso, under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the narrative is shifting. The sneers of skeptics are now drowned out by the roar of bulldozers carving out the Bama Canal, Africa's longest irrigation canal. This isn't just a construction project. It's a bold declaration of independence, a rejection of the dependency that has long chained African economies to foreign donors. While critics write reports, Burkina Faso is writing history, proving that African ambition can reshape the continent's future without a single borrowed cent. The announcement of the Bama Canal came quietly, but its impact reverberated across capitals that once treated Africa as a charity case. A small, landlocked nation, often dismissed as too poor or unstable, dared to launch a monumental project without loans, aid, or foreign consultants. Traoré called it the backbone of national food sovereignty, but the world heard something more disruptive: Africa breaking free from the blueprint of dependency. At 36, this soldier-turned leader has turned perceived weaknesses into raw material for strength, challenging centuries of conditioning that insisted Africa cannot move without permission. The Bama Canal's scale is staggering. Stretching across Burkina Faso's dry belt, it will irrigate vast plains, revive abandoned farmlands, and transform thousands of hectares of dust into fertile corridors of productivity. Designed to produce over 50,000 tons of food annually, the canal prioritizes feeding Burkina Faso's people, not foreign markets. Every meter is funded by the national budget, built by Burkinabé engineers, and dug by local hands. No foreign flags fly over the construction site, no oversight committees loom, and no interest rates dictate terms. This self-reliance is what unsettles the global order, an Africa that dares to act independently, proving that sovereignty is not a dream but a reality. The canal is more than infrastructure, it's an ideological rebellion. Traoré hasn't just poured concrete, he's poured defiance into every trench. For too long, Africa has been told that self-funded development is unsustainable, that self-reliance is unrealistic. Yet, the Bama Canal stands as a symbol that Africa's future will be written in its own soil, not in Western boardrooms. The project has ignited a spark among Burkina Faso's youth, long stifled by unemployment and dependency. Now they're part of something larger, a movement that dignifies them as builders, not laborers. Farmers, once at the mercy of unpredictable rains, speak of new harvests and stability. The rural poor, often sidelined, are now at the heart of national development, wielding shovels alongside soldiers. Western media has tried to downplay the canal, framing it as a modest water management initiative. But across Africa, it's hailed as a revolution disguised as infrastructure. Social media buzzes with pride, with young Nigerians, Malians, and Kenyans calling it Africa's Aswan, evoking Egypt's iconic dam that once symbolized liberation from colonial control. Burkina Faso's audacity is even more striking, emerging from the Sahel, a region written off as ungovernable. Traoré is rewriting that narrative trench by trench, proving that the soil once pitted can become the foundation of sovereignty. The canal's construction is a masterclass in resourcefulness. Instead of importing costly machinery or hiring Western consultants, Traoré mobilized a domestic industrial campaign. Local engineers from Ouagadougou's Polytechnic University and Military Engineering Corps designed the project, with plans drawn and executed entirely by Burkinabé hands. State-controlled manufacturers and artisans refurbished old equipment, while welding shops in Bobo Dioulasso produced canal gates and steel fittings. The National Army, repurposed as a construction force, builds bridges and embankments, turning soldiers into creators. This is Traoré's productive sovereignty, a nation mobilizing its own resources from gold to grain to build its future. Funding comes from Burkina Faso's mineral wealth, with gold revenues redirected through a state refinery into a water and agricultural sovereignty fund. This ensures that wealth mined from Burkinabé soil feeds Burkinabé fields, bypassing the IMF and its strings. Workers earn wages tied to productivity, not hierarchy, fostering a sense of ownership. A young technician captured the spirit. "We're not laborers, we're builders of our independence." The canal's design reflects Sahel logic. using natural slopes to save energy and clay linings to reduce water loss. Powered by the Diradouga Dam's 10 million cubic meters of water, it's built to last generations, not just funding cycles. This project is a political fault line, shifting power from international creditors to ordinary farmers. By feeding itself, Burkina Faso no longer kneels for food aid or endures lectures on fiscal discipline from nations drowning in their own debt. Traoré hasn't declared war on the IMF, he's rendered it irrelevant. The canal's ripples extend beyond Burkina Faso, inspiring Mali, Niger, and Guinea to explore their own irrigation networks under the alliance of Sahel states. What began as a national project is becoming a continental blueprint, reviving the Pan-African cooperation once dreamed of by Kwame Nkrumah. The narrative of African helplessness, carefully maintained for decades, is collapsing under the weight of Burkina Faso's example. The canal also resurrects the legacy of Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso's revolutionary leader from the 1980s. Sankara's vision of self-sufficiency, producing what Africa eats, wears, and thinks, was cut short by his assassination in 1987. For years, his dream was buried under foreign-backed stability and dependency. But Traoré, echoing Sankara's spirit, is completing his blueprint with 21st-century pragmatism. Where Sankara had willpower, Traoré adds machinery, hydrology, and geomapping. Soldiers, once tools of suppression, now dig canals and dams, blurring the line between revolution and reconstruction. This is Sankarism in motion, pairing ideology with infrastructure and reviving technical schools to foster Burkinabé intelligence. The canal's success challenges richer African nations like Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya. If a small, sanctioned country can build Africa's longest canal without borrowing, what's their excuse for dependency? Across the continent, students and policymakers are studying the Sahel sovereignty model: state-funded, locally engineered, low-cost, and high-impact. Niger is planning cross-border irrigation links, while Mali explores joint grain storage and trade routes. These initiatives, negotiated among African leaders, mark a shift from donor summits to conversations among equals. The canal has also caught the eye of BRICS nations, who see Burkina Faso as a partner in mutual respect and non-interference. Early talks suggest integration into a continental food network, reducing Africa's reliance on Western grain imports. But the true victory is emotional. For the first time in decades, Africans are celebrating their own success, not someone else's. The canal isn't a foreign aid story. It's a sovereign triumph written in mud, sweat, and Burkinabé hands. Yet revolutions face resistance. The same institutions that sold Africa dependency now question the canal's environmental viability, shifting from "Africa can't build" to "Africa shouldn't build." They fear the collapse of the business of dependency. The canal forces a choice: support African control of its resources or profit from its thirst. It also raises a deeper question. Is this the completion of Sankara's unfinished revolution? Traoré isn't just echoing Sankara's words. He's building his vision 1 kilometer at a time. The Bama Canal is more than infrastructure. It's history in motion. It's a refusal to starve under someone else's system, to privatize survival, or to trade dignity for grants. As water flows through Burkina Faso's soil, it carries a message to every cynic and colonial remnant. Africa has stopped waiting. From Dakar to Dar es Salaam, the canal is inspiring a new generation to build with what they have, not die waiting for permission. If one canal can shift a continent's sense of possibility, what happens when every nation starts digging?